High above the North Pole, in the thin, icy reaches of the stratosphere, a powerful and mysterious phenomenon unfolds each winter, one that shapes the very character of the season for much of the northern hemisphere. This is the polar vortex, a swirling crown of frigid air that sits atop our planet, largely unseen but deeply influential. Imagine the polar vortex as a colossal, spinning top of intensely cold air, locked in place over the Arctic by a strong, stable jet stream. This jet stream acts like a barrier, keeping the cold air contained and swirling in a tight, organized circle high above the ground. When the vortex is strong and well-formed, it acts as a shield, trapping the coldest air over the polar region. This means that much of the United States, Europe, and Asia are spared from the harshest Arctic blasts, enjoying relatively milder winters while the true chill remains locked away in the north. But the atmosphere is a dynamic, ever-changing system. Sometimes, the polar vortex weakens, wobbles, or even splits into two, disrupted by sudden stratospheric warming events or shifts in atmospheric pressure. When this happens, the once-contained cold air escapes its Arctic prison, plunging southward in dramatic fashion. This unleashing of frigid air can trigger powerful winter storms, sending temperatures plummeting and blanketing cities far from the pole in snow and ice. The jet stream, which usually flows smoothly, begins to buckle and meander, guiding Arctic air into regions that are often unprepared for such extremes. Suddenly, places accustomed to mild winters can find themselves in the grip of a deep freeze. This high-altitude drama is the hidden engine behind some of our wildest and most unpredictable winter storms, fueling blizzards that can paralyze cities and disrupt daily life. The stability of the polar vortex is the key to a predictable winter. When it holds strong, winter remains manageable. But when it falters, chaos follows, and the weather can turn on a dime from calm to catastrophic. So what happens when the vortex is disturbed? That's when winter's fury arrives at our doorstep, catching communities off guard and testing our resilience. Understanding this invisible force is crucial. It helps meteorologists forecast extreme weather, allows families to prepare their homes, and enables emergency services to respond more effectively when winter's worst strikes. And right now, as the atmosphere shifts and the polar vortex faces new challenges, that force is about to be tested like never before. The story of winter is just beginning, and the outcome depends on the fate of our planet's chilling crown. As of November 21, 2025, meteorologists are closely monitoring a remarkable atmospheric phenomenon unfolding over the Arctic, a sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW. This rare event has captured the attention of weather experts around the globe, as it signals a dramatic shift in the upper layers of our atmosphere. During an SSW, temperatures in the stratosphere can surge by as much as 50 degrees Celsius in just a matter of days. This rapid warming is not just a minor blip, it's a powerful force that disrupts the polar vortex, the swirling mass of cold air that typically circles the Arctic and keeps frigid temperatures locked in place. The polar vortex, which relies on the stability of cold air, begins to falter as this sudden warmth invades. Its winds, usually strong and well-organized, start to slow down, and in some cases, can even reverse direction. This breakdown in the vortex's structure is a key turning point in the atmosphere. As the vortex weakens, it loses its tight circular shape and becomes unstable. This instability often leads to the vortex splitting into two or more separate lobes, each carrying its own mass of cold air. The once unified shield of Arctic chill is now fractured and unpredictable. The effects of this warming event don't stop in the stratosphere. Over the following days and weeks, the changes ripple downward through the atmosphere, gradually influencing the weather patterns we experience at the surface. This process is complex and can take time, but its impacts are far-reaching. Right now, meteorologists are observing the polar vortex splitting into multiple lobes, each one acting as a separate pocket of cold air. These lobes are beginning to drift away from the Arctic, setting off a chain reaction that will affect weather far beyond the polar regions. The once contained Arctic chill is now breaking free, spilling southward and setting the stage for a significant shift in winter weather. This release of cold air can lead to dramatic temperature drops and increased chances of snow and ice in regions that may not be prepared for such extremes. The United States, in particular, is directly in the path of one of these powerful cold outbreaks. Forecast models are already showing the potential for intense winter storms and a sharp drop in temperatures across much of the country. This chain reaction, which began miles above the Earth's surface, is now poised to reshape the entire winter season across the Northern Hemisphere. From North America to Europe and Asia, millions of people could soon feel the effects of this atmospheric upheaval. The countdown to a dramatic pattern change has begun. As the atmosphere continues to adjust, communities are bracing for what could be one of the most significant winter shifts in recent memory. The world watches and waits as the story of this warming event unfolds. The polar vortex, a swirling mass of frigid air high above the Arctic, has fractured, an event that meteorologists watch with both fascination and concern. This isn't just a minor wobble, it's a dramatic split that can reshape weather patterns across the entire northern hemisphere. The vortex divides, splitting into two powerful daughter vortices. Each lobe now spins off on its own path, carrying with it the potential to unleash winter's fury far from the Arctic Circle. One of these icy cores drifts over the vast expanse of Siberia, while the other lurches toward North America, zeroing in on Greenland and northeastern Canada. This movement is more than a meteorological curiosity. It's a signal that the weather is about to take a wild turn. As the vortex shifts, it opens a direct pathway for Arctic air to surge southward, no longer contained by the usual atmospheric barriers. This cold air, once locked away in the far north, is now free to spill into lower latitudes. The jet stream, which typically flows in a relatively flat, west-to-east pattern, now buckles and plunges deep over the eastern United States. This dramatic dip acts like a superhighway, funneling frigid air straight into the heart of the continent. The result? A classic cold east, warm west pattern emerges. While the west basks in unseasonable warmth and sunshine, the east braces for a prolonged inviting chill, with millions preparing for a winter that arrives early and refuses to let go. But these changes don't happen overnight. The effects of a fractured polar vortex take time to work their way down from the stratosphere to the surface. It can take a week or two for the full impact to be felt, as the atmosphere slowly adjusts to its new configuration. With the split occurring in late November, the impacts are timed to hit just after Thanksgiving and into early December. This means that as families are wrapping up their holiday celebrations, they'll be greeted by a sudden and dramatic drop in temperatures, well below average for this time of year. Along with the cold, the stage is set for major winter storms. The collision of Arctic air with lingering warmth can spark blizzards, heavy snowfall, and dangerous wind chills, especially across the Northeast and Midwest. The opening days of December could be marked by dramatic skies, snow-laden streets, and a sense that winter has arrived with a vengeance. The polar vortex's grip on the Arctic has loosened, unleashing a cascade of wintry weather across North America. The atmosphere is primed for a season of extremes, and the first act is about to begin. So bundle up and prepare, because a sustained blast of Arctic air is on its way, and winter is ready to pounce. With the vortex split, Arctic air is pouring into western Canada and heading south. Early next week, the northern plains and Midwest will feel the first shock, temperatures dropping fast, just as Thanksgiving travel ramps up. By Wednesday, highs in Texas may struggle to reach the 40s, with lows in the 30s. After Thanksgiving, a powerful cold front will sweep across the country, pushing the chill all the way to the Gulf Coast. Even the South will see temperatures tumble, making December feel truly wintry for millions. This isn't a brief cold snap. The pattern looks locked in for 1 to 2 weeks or more. The clash of Arctic air and Gulf moisture could fuel significant winter storms. December is shaping up to be colder and stormier than usual. Thanksgiving travel will be challenging as this pattern change unfolds. In the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, a storm system could bring a wintry mix of sleet, freezing rain, and heavy rain, especially Tuesday night into Wednesday. The Midwest faces rain turning to snow, with slick roads possible on Thanksgiving morning. Out west, mountain snow will impact Arizona, Colorado, and the Pacific Northwest. Great for ski resorts, but tough for travelers. The central and southern plains will see rain, and even some thunderstorms, followed by a dramatic temperature drop. The south won't see much snow, but the sudden cold will catch many off guard. Across the country, expect rapidly changing conditions and potential travel delays. Winter is arriving with a vengeance just as millions hit the road. After the Thanksgiving storm, the lake effect snow machine will roar to life. Cold Arctic air blowing over the still warm Great Lakes will trigger intense snow bands. Buffalo, Erie, and the Tug Hill Plateau could see feet of snow, while areas around Lake Michigan may be spared this time. Lake Huron could also deliver significant snow to Ontario and the Lake Erie snowbelts. These snow bands are unpredictable. One town can be buried, while another sees only flurries. Residents in snowbelt regions must stay alert for rapidly changing conditions and hazardous travel. The Great Lakes' unique geography creates some of the world's most intense winter weather. For many, this will be the first true test of winter. Looking into December, the American GFS and European ECMWF models disagree on what comes next. Both agree on the initial polar vortex split and cold blast for the east. The GFS predicts a persistent cold trough over the east, with repeated snow chances and a warm west. The European model, however, shows a flip after early December's cold, milder air returns to the east, while the west turns colder in January. Many meteorologists trust the European model's track record, but the atmosphere is at a tipping point. This model split highlights the uncertainty in long-range forecasting. The only certainty: December starts cold, but the rest of winter is still up for grabs. The GFS and European models paint two very different winters. If the GFS is right, the East faces a cold, snowy December with frequent storms. If the European model wins out, the East gets early cold, then a January thaw, while the West turns wintry. This uncertainty makes planning tough for everyone, from energy companies to travelers. The only sure thing is a major cold blast in December. What happens after depends on how the split vortex evolves. Meteorologists will watch daily trends to see which model gains the upper hand. Prepare for a wintry December, but stay flexible. January could bring surprises. The atmosphere will have the final say. Why can't we know for sure what January holds? Because weather forecasting is a complex science. The atmosphere is chaotic. A tiny change can have huge effects weeks later. Computer models use millions of data points, but small errors can grow, especially with a disrupted polar vortex. That's why short-term forecasts are reliable, but long-range ones are less certain. The key is to watch for trends, not fixate on a single model run. Stay informed and be ready for changes. Winter weather is always evolving. Trust local meteorologists and official sources for the latest updates. The best way to stay safe? Expect the unexpected this winter.